Welcome back to yet another episode of Camera Moves Explained, where I go over unique camera moves that you're most likely not going to find in any filmmaking textbook. Number 46, The Rising Relay. The show Adolescence on Netflix is an incredible achievement of artistic nuance and technical flair. Each episode is filmed in only one take. That means that there are no cuts between shots for the entire hour-long runtime of each episode. Instead, the filmmakers used a DJI Ronin 4D camera, which has amazing built-in stabilization, to create a constantly moving yet smooth adventure in filmmaking. One of the most impressive technical feats of the show occurs at the end of the second episode, where we see this student, traumatized by the current events in her hometown, begin to walk home from school. The camera follows her, but not before magically lifting off the ground and flying across town, only to land again, ending in a close-up of this character. What makes this shot so interesting is that for the entire episode up until this point, the camera has been handheld by a camera operator on the ground. So in order to achieve the flying portion of this one take, they actually gave the camera operator a jetpack and he blasted, just kidding, they built a custom hook system to quickly and seamlessly attach the Ronin 4D to a large drone in the middle of the take, as can be seen by this Netflix BTS footage. The reason they went for this kind of a camera move was to give the episode a more ethereal kind of feel that provides unbroken emotional momentum which connects two important locations and characters in a tangible way. All that to say, this show in its entirety is a very impressive endeavor in filmmaking from a technical and an emotional level. Number 47, The Drop Shot. In the movie Collateral, we see Jamie Foxx's character just sitting in his taxi minding his own business when all of a sudden a body falls from the apartment above him and crushes his car. But what I'm focused on specifically is this shot, where the camera seems to be falling as if it is the body. What I find interesting about this shot is that it is such a seldom used type of camera move, and one that is typically employed for this exact situation, as a first-person POV of something or someone falling. In a sense, the camera move itself is enough to get the point across. The camera move itself is a representative metaphor for the act of something other than the camera falling. It simulates the experience of falling and provides a brief build-up of suspense within the viewer. Whereas other directors might opt for a jump scare where we see Jamie Foxx minding his own business in his taxi in one shot and then immediately see the body crash into the car, Michael Mann chooses to build a little bit of tension before the jump scare, possibly making the effect of the scene greater. Now, in terms of how they practically achieved this shot, the camera was attached to this special designed bungee cord looking contraption that stopped right above the taxi. It also looks to me like this shot was sped up a little bit in post-production.
We drop a body on the car from about 3 stories up. It was done with a dummy that was wired into the car, and the effects crew did a fantastic job of rigging it so that the head has to hit the windshield in a certain spot and smash the windshield.
Number 48, The Anxious Approach. In the film Carol, at the end of the film, spoilers for Carol, we see Rooney Mara's character walking into a restaurant where she expects Cate Blanchett's character to be eating. Once she spots her, the camera switches from a mostly smooth and methodical style to a handheld and slow motion style as Rooney approaches Cate. But there are two things that are interesting about this particular use of camera movement. First, the way they achieved this shot is actually a bit weird. Instead of just having the camera operator handhold the camera and walk forward, the camera operator was actually standing on a dolly handholding the camera while the dolly was pushed. This provided an unusual mix of a wobbly yet gliding camera. Second, this is the first time that such a loose type of camera movement was used in the film. The rest of the film has featured smooth camera movement, so when the film all of a sudden switches to a more wobbly, unsure camera movement, we as the viewer understand that the director is trying to communicate some kind of emotional or metaphorical idea, because it stands in stark contrast to the rest of the film. It's almost as if this scene is in bold lettering. But I'll let editor Tom Cross explain what his interpretation of this camera move is, as can be heard in a recent episode of the Team Deacons podcast.
It was incredibly effective because, to me, again, what came before was so measured and so disciplined, so that when you got to this moment, I really felt like the character was stepping out onto a tightrope, which is how it felt like the character was supposed to feel. We're embarking in emotionally new territory. We haven't been here yet. We don't know what's going to happen. And I feel like that subtle camera movement on both shots, on the pulling and the POV, really emphasized that in a way I thought was really effective.
Number 49, the 360 shot. In the movie Gladiator, after the very first battle in the arena, we see the victors Maximus and Juba basking in the praise of the audience. This adoration is emphasized with a well-placed camera move that circles around our two heroes as they look up at their surroundings. This camera move in this situation provides multiple tidbits of information for the viewer to chew on. First, it shows the entire surrounding arena, placing the viewer in the middle of it, providing historical information about the setting setting these characters are in. Second, it shows Maximus' reaction to the arena and the cheering crowd, providing information about the emotional state of his character at the time. And third, the quick circular movement of the camera provides a sort of emotional information to the viewer. Feelings of being overwhelmed with an overstimulating, dizzying experience help put the audience in the mindset of Maximus in this scene. This camera movement was most likely achieved with the use of a circular dolly track like this. I also think it helps with the movement and the emotional undertones that we see Maximus spinning around with the camera, seeing his face at all times. Number 50. The reflection run. In the movie Contact, directed by Robert Zemeckis, we see Ellie running as fast as she can up the stairs and into the bathroom to find the medicine that will save her father after he has just collapsed. But as she gets closer to the bathroom, the camera, which is on a Steadicam, pulls away from her slightly and the camera operator begins to overcrank the camera. This just means that the image now looks like it is being slowed down. The idea here is to give the viewer a sense of impending doom. In a race against time, slowing down time is not a good thing. It's almost like we are in a nightmare where we struggle to run as fast as we think we should be able to. But what happens next is probably the most impressive part of this shot. As she approaches the cabinet in the bathroom, some Hollywood magic happens where the shot transitions to make it seem like the camera has been shooting into a cabinet mirror the entire time, giving the impression that what we just watched was actually a reflection. The way they achieved this was by filming two separate shots. The first one we just saw, which was the camera leading her down the hall, and the second one is a shot of the cabinet opening with a blue screen pasted on its front. The blue screen was then keyed out and replaced with the first shot. Add a little bit of warping and VFX magic and there you have it, an iconic shot.